Have you ever heard the phrase, do your homework? Okay, maybe you're considering doing something and you will hear, do your homework. I hear it all the time. And I'm not against doing your homework. I actually believe that we do need to be an advocate for ourselves, but how much homework should we be doing? And should we always be doing the homework? Today's video is inspired by a question that I received on Instagram as a direct message. And let me read it to you. The person puts, "Hi Tracy, do you have any advice on recovery from plastic surgery, pre-op as well as post-op? I believe you mentioned in a video years ago that you had gotten a breast augmentation. I am having a mommy makeover done in August, and everything I've read about post-op recovery is confusing and extremely varied. Supplements to take, a lift recliner to sleep in, wedge pillows, compression garments, scar tape, scar gel, etc. At this point, I can't differentiate between what's truly necessary and what's not. I have always highly valued your advice, and if you have any experience with this topic, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what your recovery looked like and what helpful items, supplements helped you during post-op. Thanks so much. Have a great evening." Yes, I can imagine all of the information out there that this person is finding by doing her homework, right? But is all this doing your homework working for her? Let me read to you what I replied. "Congratulations on taking this leap and doing something for yourself. I had breast augmentation done in May of 2006, so it's been 19 years, which makes it hard to remember all the logistics of pre-op and post-op. I am sure I followed the plastic surgeon's pre-op and post-op requirements. We didn't have social media flooding us with information back then to leave us confused as people are today." I'm going to hone in on people are confused. I know myself though. I wouldn't go with a surgeon if I questioned what he or she recommended. I would follow the trusted source and Google absolutely nothing, speaking for myself here. I hope this helps. Good luck with your surgery. I hope you are pleased with the results and take all health measurements to maintain your aesthetic improvements. When it comes to doing your homework, not only is there so much information out there on the web and on social media, but loved ones, friends, family members will love to give their input as well. And I've shared in many videos, really consider what you share with people that you are getting ready to do or incorporate or venture out on. Be very careful, be very discerning who you share that with, because everyone, and I mean everyone, has an opinion, and it's always coming from their place. So if it's something they don't support, they are almost always going to find the negatives. If it is something they support, they often will find the positives, but they have all sorts of information to flood you with based on what they've heard, what they say. We often hear people say, well, they say, and I always love that because depending on who I'm speaking with, if it's a client in coaching, I'm always going to say, who's they? When they say you should eat this, or they say you should do this, or you should do it in this order, who's they? Who are they that is telling you this? So what happens is many people neglect to actually get the job done in many areas in life because they spend so much time in research mode, right? Doing their homework. Now, this video is not about what this person shared with me. That's just the story that inspired me to speak on this. Especially those of you who love to chime in what you think someone should do for pre-op and post-op. I have no idea. I have no idea, but again, I know me even today, while times have changed and we are flooded with information, or maybe it's opinions, I know myself, I am going to follow the guidelines from the expert. And if I didn't feel faith that what the expert, in this case the plastic surgeon, was instructing me to do, I wouldn't go with that plastic surgeon. So one thing about me is I typically never share anything that's on my radar or that I am going to do with other people because, again, I want to tune out the noise. I recently had a situation where I probably shared too much about something to do with diet, and I couldn't even break away from the conversation with a couple women because they were trying to fix this problem for me, and I was just sharing. So, lesson learned, I know better. I know better than to do that to myself. Everyone wants to be the doctor. Everyone wants to be the expert, and often they're coming from their own experience. So you have to be aware that this is happening, and most of it is brought on by yourself. And I hear this again all the time in coaching. I hear it in workshops. I hear it in my program, 3-Week Intense, which 3-Week Intense for Q3 is coming up in September. You can get registered today for that. But I hear it all the time, and it is coming from a place of they say. And what happens is exactly what this lady shared. There's confusion. There's so much out there. You don't really know how to decipher what's the right way and what's the wrong way. Well, at the end of the day, the right way is usually going to be what's best for you. You have to learn to tune out the noise, and you have to really discern how much homework you're willing to do. I've been down that path where I've had some maybe issues, maybe health issues, and I will jump right on, AI, I will jump right on and do a search. And what it does is it leads you into another thing, and then that leads you into another thing. And before you know it, you're just building this snowball of researching one thing and researching another thing. And then you're diagnosing yourself. And again, be careful who you share with because they're going to diagnose you. So you have to figure out who the expert is in that situation. I know when I run my program 3-Week Intense, or sometimes even in coaching, if I have a client that is so adamant about believing in what one YouTuber put out there, especially someone who works in that industry, and they probably are an expert, but you have to remember, we are flooded with experts, but they still have a different opinion. Think about exercise and diet. If you are listening to an expert that eats and believes in a vegan lifestyle, then they're going to find everything against eating meat, right? But if you are listening to an expert that believes more in a meat-based diet, okay, let's say carnivore, they're going to be against vegetables. So at the end of the day, yes, do you have to do your own homework? Well, I would say put the work in. Instead of doing all the research about what is right for you, test it out. See what seems to serve you. Stick with it long enough that you are doing the homework. But be very careful what you share with others, because what happens is it leaves people stuck. They actually make no progress towards what it is they are trying to do because they are so busy in research mode doing their homework. Let me know in the comment section below if you find yourself doing this, where you're researching, but you're never actually taking steps because it's all so confusing. Now, with the situation that was presented to me by the lady that direct messaged me, she's going to go through with this surgery. She's not on the fence about it. I can read that. It's just she's building up probably this anxiety about what should I be doing to prepare and how should I be prepared for when I'm done. And it doesn't necessarily need to be as complicated as what she's making it. She will have instructions from her plastic surgery. Often they will give those instructions way in advance, and then within a couple of days of the actual surgery, she will probably get a call and they will go over all the pre-op instructions, and they will definitely give her post-op instructions as well. So it's not about what her friend did or what her sister did or what a coworker did. It is about what the expert she's chosen to work with is instructing her to do. And as far as expectations, one never knows because we all have a different experience with everything that we do. So let me know in the comment section below. If you missed my empties video from earlier this week, I will have that video linked in the description box below. Also my recent purchases, and I will have another recent purchases and empties at the end of the month. In fact, today I am trying a new foundation, and the color's not right, and I'm not sure if I like the texture, but I will have it linked. And then I'm also wearing a new lip product, a new lip liner, and a new lip product, along with one of the glosses that I talked about last month. So I will have those listed if you like this look. I don't know that I do yet, but I will definitely keep you posted in future videos. And don't forget, if you're not registered for my newsletter, earlier this week I shared my purchases from the month of June, and I always share my husband's as well. And then in today's newsletter, I share my reflections from the month of June. I will have links to those newsletters in the description box below, and a link to subscribe to my newsletter if you are not already. Have a great weekend.